We're on Tenerife in the Canary Islands, those southern outposts of Spain, 80 miles from the coast of Africa and the Sahara Desert. It's midwinter, mid-70s, marvellous. But the reason we're here is that British holidaymakers are coming in greater numbers than ever before.
We're starting as we mean to go on, because whatever else the winter has in store for you, we guarantee you sunshine every Wednesday night.
And we start right here on Tenerife, where British tourists outnumber even visitors from Spain. This is Los Cristianos, one of those places where tourism and Tenerife overlap, and the yachts still share the harbour with the fishing fleet. Los Cristianos is in the south of the island. Chris has been looking at holidays in the north.
Mount Teide, at 12,000 feet, the highest mountain in Spain. It gives Tenerife its most famous landmark and its climate. On this side of the mountain, the days can be wet and overcast, particularly in December and January, as we discovered for ourselves, when 28 miles away, the other half of the island is enjoying hot sunshine. Where the south is arid, the north is lush. Dense plantations of bananas cover the slopes that tilt towards Puerto de la Cruz and the sea.
People were coming to Puerto de la Cruz on holiday, chiefly for the mild climate, long before the town began to think of itself as a holiday resort. But as more people came, so Puerto set out to give them what they wanted.
It didn't really have a beach, just this patch of volcanic grit, which looks more like cinders than sand. But back in the 50s, they decided to change all that and began to build the Lido. It's a kind of man-made South Sea island, all pools and palms and paving the colour of coral. It costs about 85 pence a day to get in. The last part to be completed was the lagoon, with a nightclub on its island. 20 years ago, Puerto de la Cruz ended at the little white chapel on the cliff top. Multi-storey buildings may have erupted all about it, but the old town doesn't appear to have noticed. The old square still shelters under its heavy canopy of ficus trees. There are still some handsome old balconied buildings in the shopping streets. Tenerife is a duty-free island. Cigarettes and drink are cheap, cameras, clothes and radios much the same, if not more, than you'd pay at home. Eating out is good value at about £4 a head, cheaper than mainland Spain, according to one survey. And then there's the fishing port, where it all began. It's still a working harbour. There's more than the occasional clue that this is an island the British have long made their own.
But then there is a British library and a British church in Puerto de la Cruz, which date from a much earlier generation of travellers. So bringing our beer and our chip shops away with us isn't so very different from importing our books and our parsons. Or our clubs, come to that.
The British Club was founded in 1906. It was originally called the Outdoor Games Club, and that's still where the emphasis lies, despite the occasional game of Call My Bluff on Wednesday nights. This is the only bowling green in the Canaries. There are a couple of tennis courts and a tiny croquet lawn. Holidaymakers can take out temporary social membership for about £1.50 a week. Tennis is extra. But since a large scotch in the club costs about 25 pence, you could recover your subscription in a couple of rounds. Most British stay in 3- or 4-star hotels. This 4-star in Puerto de la Cruz is one of the older ones, but it bagged the prime position right on the front. Newer hotels tend to be at the back of the town. No holiday here should stick in a resort. The island outside is magnificent. The road to Mount Teide climbs from the banana farms on the plain through lines of chestnuts and forests of pine to vacant fields of volcanic rock. It's another planet. Elsewhere, great columns of contorted stone spout from the landscape. The entire summit of Teide itself is contained within the walls of one giant volcanic crater.
With so much more on the island than simply resorts and beaches, Tenerife will never be buried by any tourist explosion.